So, hey everyone, today is a very special day as we have our amazing Miss Archana Surana, and she is a design educator, a mentor, and a social entrepreneur with 30 years of experience. This is 30 years of experience in innovating design education. She successfully carries forward the legacy of 25 years as the founder and director of Arch College of Design and Business, the Design Culture Co-Create initiative, under which we are currently organizing this learning series, is her mission to harness the power of design among aspirants like you in design and creativity domain, enabling them to become design leaders. She is the vice president of the Cumulus Executive Board 2022 to 25 and a mentor of the CII National Committee on Design India. Additionally, she is currently a member of the CBSE Committee on Skill Development, and she is also the US State Department alumnus and a Vital Voice Leader Fellow. In 2014, she founded the Women Mentor Forum, WMF, which has impacted over 1,500 women entrepreneurs and professionals through mentoring initiatives. She was awarded with Yuva Icon Award by former Indian President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And these are just a few of her many achievements, but this list is so long to cover to full. Please welcome Archana Surana. Yes.
You. Thank you again.
Thank
आप
you, ma'am.
सबको मेरा प्रणाम. So this is a culture that we have at Arch. So we start a day with our hands folded close to our heart chakra and say pranam to everybody, right, around us. Okay, so I'm going to start the session now for
Yes.
you. Be very attentive because we're going to be talking about what your journey is going to look like for the next 4 years and what you're going to be doing for the next 4 years, right? I'm not going to be talking about course content here, but the intent of the course and what is going to be the learning outcome of your everyday work that you're doing and how attentive and aware you need to be so that you can address those. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. So it says creative competencies in learning design. So what do we mean by creative, right? So each one of us are creative individuals. We are born as creative individuals and we are unique in ourselves, right? And when we are unique, we bring forth something new on this planet as an individual who can make a difference. And you've been through the design learning series and it started with creativity. And you know, this very noted educator from the UK, he says, Ken Robinson, his name is Sir Ken Robinson. And he says that today, creativity is more important than literacy. And your creative competencies can only bring that differentiator. You can be identified as somebody if your name is, Abhinav, people will know you for your there will be many Abhinavs, right? And your class will be full of a lot of students who've just completed the class 12 standard and you all come from the same level. But you will be identified for your creative competency that you hold, right? So what makes Abhinav different from Isha? And what does make Isha different from Sia, right? So it's very important to look at what is your deep, essence in terms of what makes you creative, how you are able to use all your learnings of your past years and use them in a new way, in an innovative way, and bring solutions which are very interesting for people to learn from, right? So that's an opportunity for each one of us. So that's what creativity is all about. And when we talk about competencies, I just talked about that each one of us has very unique competencies, right? And when we come together in a team, what we do is all these competencies, when they come together, they fructify into something really meaningful. And that's how big ideas and big, things come into play. So today, even if you think of a person like Steve Jobs, right? He had an idea, right? So maybe, but his idea was then manifested by another group of creative people, somebody who had the IT knowledge, somebody who had the design knowledge, somebody who had something else in them, right? So a team then comes together to bring all these and people with different competencies come together to bring design solutions. And today the world needs designers who can create solutions for the future, designers who will make a difference, designers who will who should actually understand who they are and what their role is. And these are very, very important. And you are still in your learning journey. You've come into an undergraduate program, but understand that this is a professional course. And when we say this is a professional course, there's this. You've also heard the word like discipline, right? We say this is the humanities discipline, this is the commerce discipline. So a design field has its own discipline, right? And this discipline is what you need to understand, probably to be more proactive, be aware, be more sensitive, be more empathetic, be more system oriented, right? To make sure that you can scale up your ideas. Design is all about scaling your creative ideas, your artistic ideas. An artist probably just, can influence through his art. And, it's very subjective, but design is very objective. Design can make a difference. You have to start thinking from those. It's about your expression that can impact a larger group. Is picking up jewelry, you might be seeing them as there's so much to the emotional, right? There's a huge amount of emotions that is connected with your jewelry, right? So if you in the chat, that's yes, so I have, right? So you have to, in fact, experimental too, and that's what the power of a designer is. Last year when Cumulus is, we do this forum. It's the largest group of universities and colleges from 70 countries and 370 universities and colleges from across the globe are members of this forum, right? And this association, rather a forum, I'd call it an association. It's the Cumulus Association. So we are the largest association on the planet, and it's got an 11-country board. And I'm fortunate to be representing India there as the vice president on this executive board. And when we were talking about a more student-centric program, because we meet for conferences where educators meet, they deliberate, they exchange ideas. But what about the student community? So we wanted to do something for the students, and then we conceived, Arch College conceived this idea as a board member, and I initiated the pilot of the first Cumulus Student Talent Camp. And we called it the Design Identity Direction. So each one of you has an idea, and you want to have your identity being, taken forward, right? So we said, what would this direction be? How would you get this direction? So we call it the did. So it's all about I did it, we did it, right? Does that sound good to you? Till now, I'm sure that you've gotten the essence of it. So give me some thumbs up, give me some feedback on the chat box so that I know that, you're getting the essence of what I'm talking about. So the human energy is the essence of progress, right? So how do we bring progress into our lives? It is by individual energy that we have that we put into our work, and that's how we bring progress into our lives. So if you want a collective work to happen, we need to bring collective energies of people together, right? So that's the essence of progress. And it is the driving behind any innovation, right? So we talked about the iPhone. Is it an innovation? I think it's one of the greatest innovations that people talk on the planet, right? So why is it innovative? Because it was a driving force where so many human energies got together and they created something very innovative. And then you can see endless possibilities. With the iPhone, we've got the earplugs, which are now, those sensitive ones where you have the sound cancellation. Then you've got the Apple Watch, which has more functions. So with one innovation, you are able to drive so many more innovations, right? So do you understand that bit? Right. So that's the power of the human being. So we're going to talk about each one of you as that powerful being who's going to transform in the landscape of design, right? So at Arch, you can see these are all our students, and they are doing what? They're doing the Anapan Sadhana, which is the basic of the Vipassana meditation. So we do a 10-minute session every morning. We start the session right at 9. We start this 9 to 9:10. So your time to come to the campus is 8:55 or before that, right? So you have to be there for this session, because this is when we all get together, our collective energy gets together, and the brain is charged for the entire day to generate some new ideas, right? And we focus on our breath, and that's where we engage your natural potential. And the point is that to engage the natural potential of each one of you, and through design education, we will be enabling you for positive thought and action, and will be empowering you to evolve with the spirit of holistic co-creation, right? So that's what our philosophy at Arch College is. So read this frame, take a snapshot of it, make sure that you read it again and again, and understand that this is where you're going to be landing into. Okay. So, is it interesting? You've seen the body, you've seen the meditation, you've seen the chakras, but have you ever tried to connect it ever with design? And this is something that came to me because I'm a healer as well. And there are a lot of alternative practices that I have been into. And my innovative mind, creative mind saw the possibilities of connecting the dots. And I saw that our chakras, our body chakras, they are high energy centers. And when we're talking about human energy today, right, we're talking about the different chakras and how a body can create these different ideas, right? So if you look at, if your crown chakra is elevated, right, you will be doing designs which are more universal in nature. You will be looking at design that is applying to all. Design, universal design means design that would apply to a larger number of people, right? And something that you can adapt in most cultures and environments and climate conditions. So that's how you will be able to design more of, look at things from a universal design perspective. And if you are Ajna chakra, which is your third eye chakra, which is here, right, which is your pineal gland. This is one of the most important glands. This is there for higher motivation. This is here to actually build your self-esteem, and builds positive confidence. And these people are very strategic in nature, and they can be brought onto boards, and they could create a lot of strategies where design could be applied in a very interesting way. And if you look at design communication, our throat chakra, the throat chakra is, how many of you have ever come across healing as any idea? And just put me on the chat box. If you have some experience of healing, any kind of healing, Reiki, pranic healing, you're privy to it, your parents are doing it, you've experienced it in any form, just put it in the chat box. Anybody has an experience of it? Okay. So the throat chakra is where all your communication lands. This is where you get the power to speak, to communicate, to connect the dots, to understand. So people who have a good evolved energy center of the throat chakra are very good at communicating. So design communication is a field that is very good for them, and they can. So the point here is to balance all your chakras so that your design is very holistic in nature. And if you look at your heart, right, your heart is what is actually servicing your entire body, right? Today, service design is the area of design on the planet. This is where all big design schools across the world teaching service design, because there are already so many products and services already in their market. How do we make these services more effective? There are areas in the world which are actually, untouched, and they are facing still a lot of challenges, right? These amenities are not available to them. Like understanding something like the Arctic Circle, because of the global warming, it's melting down. Now they're trying to create simulations to understand that how would the habitat be there? How would man be behaving with the nature after so many years of global warming? So these are certain areas people will address when you're talking like service design, right? Or even in your city, is your city well planned? Is the traffic system well planned? All these areas would come under service design. Now let's look at the experience design. Let's look at the solar plexus. Now, whenever there's a good news happening, you start getting some, sensations here below your, just below your, where you have this deeper, a deeper space here, right? Just below your center of your heart, you just go down and you have this space, and you start getting some sensations there. Whenever there's a good news or whenever there's anxiety, you start getting there, right? So it's a space where you experience a lot of emotions, right? So you could be probably looking at experience design from this place. Whenever you look at good design, what kind of experience do you feel? What is the emotions that you get? Is it a good emotion or is it a not so good emotion? So these are areas you could probably understand better when your solar plexus are evolved. Then you look at your circular design. Look at the sacral chakra, which is your right in your belly, right? When you say it's my gut feeling, right? So actually the gut is what regulates the entire body. When you look at today, you've been on Instagram, they today talk about the gut health. They said everything comes from the gut. Even the brain works from your gut, right? So the gut feeling is a very important area because the gut is where all emotional, all kind of things happen, and it actually circulates in the entire body. So circular design is something that you can see from there. And circularity simply means that from the cradle back to the cradle. Do you understand what is circular design? So if you've taken something from Mother Earth, it has to go back to Mother Earth in a manner which is sustainable and which is very, with less wastage, with less damage that you've done back to it, to that whole thing. Then you look at the root chakra. The root chakra is the foundation of your body. Your body has a very strong foundation, and the strength comes from the root chakra. In between, there is definitely one more, which is for your creative energies, right? Which we call as the sex chakra, which is where all creative energies are harbored. And so when you actually energize and use your creative, ideas, this is where you're actually, you being a male or a female, you have very different unique abilities. That quality of your chakra gets sharpened and becomes better. So, and sustainability, we've been hearing about sustainability, and it's very important to understand that it's the root and the foundation of all design. Anything that's not sustainable is something that is causing more harm to you and the damage to your environment around you. So sustainability is key to when we're looking at a very holistic design process. Okay, so this is a very, very, very important slide, and keep your focus intact here. So this is learning for social innovation, right? We are in a world today, we are in a world of abundance. We don't need more products. For sure, we don't need more products. The world is filled up with more and more products, and we are dumping them, right? So today what we need is social innovation. So each one of you as designers will be social innovators. Okay, so when we did this 5-day program, this was a 5-day, very intense program. We had 30 participants from 7 countries. It happened last year in October. And so we brought very different kind of these learning competencies for them. And I want each one of you to look at these learning competencies in depth, because your assignment is based around this. So if you look now, let's go on to being, right? So for a being, hear this very carefully. You have to be intrinsically motivated. So all throughout your course, whether you understand or not understand, doesn't matter. You are in a perfect state. That ambiguity is also a state of learning. So you have to keep your motivation going and ongoing and continue with that. Talk to your peers, talk to your teachers, but keep yourself highly motivated. And be original. Yes, the world today is full of ideas, right? You've got the mid journey, you've got AI at different levels, you have a lot to cut, paste, and copy, right? But how are you going to be original, right? So keep looking at how your originality stays with you. Now, you got to be a self-learner all throughout the program, because design, there are no books, there are all reference books, right? There are no textbooks. Design, every teacher would teach differently, because design is, again, not a system, but design is about creating a unique new system, right? So you will have to be a self-learner. You will have to expose yourself to more and more areas that can actually nurture your creativity and actually help you do your assignments well. So being a self-learner is going to be very key. The classroom is not your learning space. In design, your city, your community, your world, your peers, these are your learning spaces. Got it? Keep saying yes, yes, if you believe in this, right? And then you have to be very creatively confident. How will you be creatively confident? Only when you are experimental, where you're trying sufficiently, will you be creatively charged. Otherwise, you're always seeking for ideas. You're trying to ape somebody. You're trying to make sure that you can just fill in your assignments. This is not school where you have to get your marks. It is about your journey of getting those marks. Yeah. Right? There are no right and wrong answers. The right answer is to be better than what you were yesterday. One step ahead every day in your learning, doing, and being. And surely you have to be very flexible. You can't be rigid. This is what I want to learn. This is I don't want to learn. This is what the curriculum should be. This is what it should not be. Design creates learning opportunities which are very open-ended. Right? So understand the gravity of knowing who you are and what is going to be your being if you really want to learn. Okay, now comes your awareness. How important it is to be aware situationally. Now, in today's session, if you look at, nobody was ready for today's situation, right? Or one of you were told to have a backdrop, have a screen, but none of you were abiding by that in 100% totality, which is not being aware of your duties. You, as a duty, you have a duty of a design learner, and you have to follow those practices in totality. So it's very important to be aware of the situation that you are in, right? How will you embody that awareness? If today somebody has learned from this, they will never repeat this mistake again, right? So you will embody it forever, that I'm never going to do this. I'm going to be ready with my computer always, with a screen that I should be. I should not have my home background going in the background where my palang or my fan is being seen. You don't want to be doing that, right? Because there is a person sitting on the screen. You don't want to attract yourself for the wrong reasons, right? And it's very important that you embody that awareness. And it's very important that you also understand that emotional awareness, that is it nice, you want to be completely absorbed in the learning process, right? So emotionally and physically, you want to be completely there. And then, yes, tangible. What are your tangible things around you? You be aware about them as well. And the process, yes. The process is what is the key thing in design. Design is all about following a process. If you follow a process, you will get desired results. And once you start doing it, then you can create some new processes, right? So if you have to break a rule, you have to first follow the rule. You have to learn to follow a rule to break a rule. Right? Got it? So now let's go on to your kinesthetic thinking. So you have your visual thinking. A few people are visual thinkers, right? So you could be a visual thinker. You will be also looking at spaces. Spatial means spaces, right? So you, according to a space, how do you need to think, right? For interior designers, it's very important, right? Because who's going to sit here? How is the person going to move? What is the next service you're going to use? So you know how the space is important. Similarly, the body is one space. So a jewelry designer will need to see how the necklace sets into the body, right? Sets on the neck piece, right? If you're designing something very different, then also you have to figure out how long is the neck, how it will set, how thin is the neck, what is the shape of the piece. So all these things are very important to understand space and the visual thinking. Till now, everybody sorted, understood? Please go on to say that I've understood, yeah? And give me a thumbs up. Okay, so let's go on to the day two. So it's not about day 2 here. You will have weeks and weeks of learning, right? So these were people who would come, so they had a very different experience. But this is what learning competencies are. So all throughout your 4 years of journey, you will keep seeing these kind of learning. You will be looking at 3 learning competency in every assignment that you do. Okay, so let's look at scalar thinking, right? So micro, meso, macro thinking. You understand what micro means? Zoom in. Macro means zoom out. And meso means in between, right? So these are different levels of thinking. बहुत नजदीक से आपको details देखना है. So you will start going into details. So it's micro level of thinking, right? Now you want to see the big picture from a bird's eye view. So that's a macro level of thinking. As a designer, you need to have all that of it, right? So look at from a scale point of view, look at from a systems point of view, look at from a future point of view. A designer's role is to look at design from a future point of view, because everything is available in the present world. So why have you to design something for the present world? You have to design something that's required 5 years from now, 3 years from now, or 15 years from now. So if you look at it, you're seeing roads being manufactured, constructed, and things. Why is the government doing that? They're looking from a futuristic point of view that 10 saal baad, the population is going to grow, the city would need more roads, they would need more flyovers and bridges. So you have to start making them. You need more metro systems, the youth is going to grow, and they want to travel, so you need all these facilities for the city. So this is futuristic thinking. And similarly, sustainable thinking is using your resources to the best of your abilities to make sure that there's less of wastage in every stage of the production, to the process, to everything. Got it till now? So good. Say yes, understood till now. Because your design challenge is going to be looking at these. So any term you've not understood will then be not understood for your assignment too. Okay, let's go on to managing the context, right? So while your class, you will have an assignment. So you will have a context to manage, right? What is a context, right? A context could be, okay, you have to go in your neighborhood and look at problems, right? So that's a context. So in that context, how would you look at doing your work, and how you would put your ideas in place? So you have to manage the context. Now, once you've looked at the context, now you have to manage the processes then, right? Is it feasible? Is it not feasible? Is it going to be practical or not practical? Then if you have to have the neighborhood actually use it, right? So you will also have to create communication that they understand. So you have to manage the communication. And then you have to also manage the collaboration, because you want them, you're making it for them, right? So if there is not a collaboration between them and you, will your idea be implemented? No. So as a designer, you have to manage as well. Got it? So similarly, we go on to the next thing, which is you have to look at thinking strategies. So from a strategic level, which I told you right now, that you will be getting into conceptual thinking, critical thinking. Pragmatic means realistic, right? And more rational. And then you have design thinking strategies as well. So you could create a future concept. I mean, you could create a new context, and in the new context you could create a concept that can get you to think. So as a designer, we give you different scenarios so that your conceptual thinking grows, right? So I'm right, Hiten, you would be giving them a lot of assignments and tasks that will build their conceptual thinking, right?
Yeah.
And critical thinking. Critical means zaruri, essential, बहुत जरूरी है सोचना. ठीक है? If you don't think on those realms, then you will not be able to produce outcomes that will be meaningful for the student, for anybody, right? So that's how managing and thinking strategies would be. Now let's look at 2D, 3D, and 4D. Oh, now the world wants to step into this world, right? They don't want to do any being level activity, no awareness, no thinking level activity, nothing managing. We want to learn 2D, we want to know 3D, we want to be in a 4D world, right? That's what the youth is all the time, aspirational. Am I right or wrong? It's like a fantasy world, huh, for each one of you. So if you look at 2D, what is 2D thinking? Visual design development. So if you're drawing, sketching, illustration, that's all doing in 2D. So you're trying to look at 3D ideas and put them on 2D, right? Paper, pen, pencil, and you do it. Then you have visualization techniques, right? That would be in the under 2D. Digital visualization techniques, that would also be 2D, right? And when you look at 3D, okay, you've got materials. आपको एक table या chair का, if you have to make a prototype, now you're making it out of clay, right? So is it making into 3D? So you're doing what? Form development. And then you're doing spatial design development, right? So you're trying to make models and things. So that's, again, that kind of thing, spatial design development. For interior designers, yes, model making is a good idea to do that. Then you've got fabrication techniques. Today we have laser cutting, we have 3D printing facilities on the campus. So you're going to be using all these machineries to make sure that you bring your 2D ideas onto 3D platform, right? So these are digital fabrication techniques that you will use to bring your 2D into 3D. Now, after 3D comes the user experience, which is 4D realm. Emotional realm aa gaya yahan pe. So the user experience design is very important to understand. Interaction design. Today, the website is like a 2D space, but it is interacting all the time with you, right? So it's interaction design, UX, UI design. And then service design is also looking at many stakeholders. And from that perspective, you're looking at how services will be rendered. So these are a couple of areas that I've tried to just bring to your notice. There is also 5D design. We're going to talk about it later on when you are here. So we worked on these 4 different tracks while they were on the program, which was product design, communication design, sustainable design, and social design. So your journey has started when you actually you had harmonious livability, you had society. So harmonious livability was about sustainable design. So all the case studies that you had were around sustainability. Then you had the society 5.0 that was all around social design. Am I right? So you've heard Kavita Chaudhary talk about Jaipur Rugs, which is again a social venture. Then you've got creativity was about communication design. You knew what storyboarding and comic strips and these kind of things, right? Product design, yes, maybe still not, but yes, product design. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that, right? Today on the program. So we're going to be learning for social innovation. That's what the role of a designer is. Okay, so look at communication design, designing for effective messaging. So even if you look at you doing your stream could be fashion, jewelry, interior, whatever, you will have these 4 perspectives on all your courses, right? So if your jewelry will want to communicate. So is your jewelry communicating? Is there some effective message in your jewelry piece? Yes, maybe, maybe not. So you need to see that is your idea, your product, even is it communicating? So from a social point of view, are you designing for greater good? So you could be using materials like recyclable materials, right? So it could come from the social, even a jewelry piece could come from a social aspect. Your furniture piece could come from a very social aspect, right? So when you're looking for designing a better future, sustainable design is about using resources productively and in an optimized manner. right? And when you look at products is about you looking into user needs. Need hai ya greed hai? So today you're making products only for greed. Okay, there is already so much of design. When you talk about 10 types of chairs which are there, 15 thousands of SKUs of garments which are there. But is it that the customer needs more of that? No. They need more of adaptive clothing, people who are maybe visually impaired, people with, some disorders, people who are differently abled, people for different professions, for different occupations. You might need clothes for those more than just doing it for the fashion market and putting them into the dump yard, right? So you as a designer could identify who I am going to be as a designer, right? So these are the realms you can work in. Okay, so you had these couple of case studies already made with the family's blessing, right? So you had Jaipur Rugs, you had Kavita Chaudhary who talked about it. And see, they have this tagline which is put on the walls, huh? And they call their family as the family of the artisans and weavers, right? So this is what you saw. And you can go onto Instagram, have a look at this couple of they've got some very good Instagram stuff, which is very creative stuff. You should follow their Instagram to see all this, right? And then they've gotten all these awards. So for their rugs and their people, their artisans are getting awards. Similarly, Jaipur Blue, Mrs. Neela Bordia, she's a lady who actually brought this dyeing craft together and exporting to the world. So you'll be able to see her work when you're here. We'll take you for factory visits, site visits. You're going to meet such amazing people who have made a difference. So there's some of their ideas. They have 4 villages. They have 1,000+ products. They have 500 unique designs. You can follow these people on the Instagram as well, right? Nija International. Now, these are our students' projects. We did some projects for them. So you can see out of blue pottery, the students made these games for them. A whiteboard with calendar and abacus, and then you had a snake and ladder game, which each one of you know about. Can you see all this? I had taken them for a space there. You see that furniture piece as well? That's made out of blue pottery. Otherwise, people see only pottery as pottery, right? As a vase, as a vase, whatever. Now, yes. You all know about our courses. Only few of you were eligible to take on this learning series. The rest of them will not have a direct interaction, but they will be seeing these audios and these videos later on before they enter the program. These will be sent to them so that they can understand what is expected from them, because there are students who have take late decisions of whether they want to do the course or not do the course. They're still thinking, I should go here, I should go there. So you are a very happy, you're a very sorted lot who have decided much well in time about your career choices and the place that you are going to be at, right? So if you know about all these courses that we have, which is University of Rajasthan affiliated, interior, fashion, communication design, BBA also, we have BBA with design as well. And then we have these courses, and then we have the Vishwakarma Skills University, where we have our masters in interior, fashion, jewelry, and design communication. And then we have our Pearson BTech programs, which is the student studies for 2 years here in India, and the final year they complete the degree in the UK. So this is what we've been doing. And you've seen the design learning series. Look at these big people, a few of them gray-haired, a few with interesting faces, the NID former director. These are all the topmost people of the country who have been a part of the design learning series. So after we finish this design learning series, You will need to hear each one of them and their lectures before you come for the session and join us in July. 3rd week of July, you're going to be joining us. So community is the new learning environment for collective energy. And this collective energy can be used to design our lives and for the planet. Today, design is moved from being Anthropocene to human-centric, and it has become planet-centric because the planet needs design, and we have used a lot of design to make human lives happy, and there is so much of abundance on the planet that it is now going to the dump yards. So we have to be very conscious of who we are as designers. So we're going to be now designing our lives for a better, healthier life and design for the planet. That's the Jaipur Watch Company. You should follow them as well. Is the president of Cumulus Association, Lorenzo Embassy. And this is the Neela House, which is again funded by a British foundation. And Radha has also been for your session already, and you've seen the case study of Neela House as well. This is block printing, Vikram Joshi. So if you look at the first learning series, you will see about all of it. And you've got Jaipur, Kagzi, the paper industry. You've got Goons. They're into cutting, processing and all this.